I borrowed my teenage son's phone for one quick call, but what I found in his TikTok drafts left me frozen. My husband, another woman, in our house. My son knew everything and had filmed it all. I never thought I'd say this, but TikTok saved my life, or at least, it saved me from wasting what was left of it with a man who didn't deserve even a moment of my loyalty. My name's Julia, and if you had asked me 2 months ago, I would have said I had the perfect family. A kind, successful husband named Aaron who worked in finance, a charming 16-year-old son named Ryan who I'd always thought was a little too obsessed with his phone, and a modest but happy suburban life filled with PTA meetings, family dinners, and weekend barbecues. But as I stand here now, a legally single woman with full custody of my son, all I can think about is how little I really knew about the people closest to me. It started on an average rainy Thursday evening. I'd just come home from grocery shopping, soaked to the bone, when I realized I left my phone at work. Ryan was on the couch, AirPods in, eyes glued to his phone as usual. I gave him a quick hug on the way in and asked if I could borrow his phone for a quick call to my office. To have someone check my desk? He hesitated, not enough to alarm me, just enough to register in hindsight. "Sure, Mom," he said, unlocking it with his face and handing it over. I made the call, thanked his coworker for checking, and was about to hand the phone back when a notification popped up: TikTok, you have 5 drafts ready to post. I wouldn't have clicked each really. I wouldn't have, except that I saw my own living room on the preview thumbnail of one. My own couch. My own kitchen. I thought, maybe Ryan was making one of those viral home tours videos or doing something funny. So I tapped. What I saw made my stomach drop. The first video opened to a shaky camera view, clearly shot from the slightly cracked door of Ryan's bedroom. You could hear muffled voices, Aaron's and a woman's. It was clearly my kitchen. The timestamp was from 2 weeks ago, when I'd gone to visit my sister for the weekend. Aaron had claimed he was working late, and Ryan had decided to stay home since he had soccer practice. The voices got clearer. Laughing, then Aaron's unmistakable voice, saying, "She's too naive to suspect anything." Then the woman replied, "As long as your son doesn't tell her." I froze. I played the second video. This time, the angle was from behind the staircase, peeking into the living room. Aaron and the same woman, tall, dark-haired in yoga pants, were making out on my couch. The couch I had literally bought last Christmas as a family gift. I felt bile rise in my throat. My fingers shook. The third video had subtitles. Ryan had started editing it. "When your dad thinks you don't know he's cheating," it read, over a shot of him pretending to eat popcorn dramatically while chaos unfolded downstairs. My chest hurt. Not only was my husband cheating, but my son had known for weeks, maybe months, and hadn't told me. I wanted to cry, scream, fall apart, but I had to hold it together. I returned the phone calmly, and went upstairs, locking myself in the bathroom, where I sat on the floor and wept. I couldn't confront Aaron without knowing everything. I needed the whole story. That night, after Aaron had come home and gone straight to his office, I knocked gently on Ryan's door. He looked startled. "Hey, buddy, can we talk?" He nodded, sliding his phone under the pillow like a guilty kid. I sat beside him and, as gently as I could, asked, "Who's the woman in the TikTok drafts?" He went pale. "You saw them?" I nodded. "How long have you known?" He looked away, then finally said, "Since before Christmas." At first, I didn't even realize what was happening. I thought it was just a family friend or someone from his work. Then I caught them kissing. I tried to tell you, but I didn't know how. I figured recording them would be safer. I was stunned into silence. My son had been carrying this secret, this burden, trying to protect me in his own teenage way. I hugged him so tightly he probably couldn't breathe. Over the next few days, I acted like everything was normal. I cooked dinner, laughed at Aaron's stupid work stories, even pretended to enjoy his favorite show. But inside, I was planning. I backed up every single video from Ryan's phone, emailed them to a private address, and began consulting a lawyer. I had no prenuptial agreement with Aaron, which I knew would help me if I filed with evidence. I also started tracking his phone using an app Ryan secretly helped me install. Turns out, Aaron had been visiting the same address every Thursday and Friday night, the address of Melissa, a divorced woman who had recently joined Aaron's gym. I even found photos of them together online. She had no idea I existed, apparently. That made me even more furious. I wasn't just betrayed, I had been erased. I waited 3 weeks, gathering everything I needed. Then came the day I would never forget. I scheduled a family dinner for Friday night. Aaron came home as usual, kissing me on the cheek like nothing was wrong. Ryan was unusually quiet. Halfway through the meal, I said, "I made a little family video I wanted to show you both. Memories from the past few months." Aaron raised an eyebrow but smiled. "Sure, honey. That sounds cute." I connected my phone to the TV. The screen lit up with the first TikTok draft, the one from behind Ryan's bedroom door. As Aaron's face turned white, I pressed play on the second, then the third. By the time the kissing scene aired, Aaron had pushed back from the table. "Julia, I can explain," he stammered. "Save it," I said coldly. "I've already filed for divorce. These videos are evidence. You'll be hearing from my lawyer Monday." He looked at Ryan. "You recorded this. You betrayed me." Ryan stood up. "You betrayed her first." The room fell silent. Aaron tried to pack a bag that night, but I told him to leave with nothing. His stuff would be sent to him. Melissa showed up at the house the next day, demanding answers. I handed her the videos on a flash drive. She walked away in tears. 2 weeks later, Aaron was fired from his firm. Turns out he'd been using company time and a corporate card to fund weekends with Melissa. The firm didn't take kindly to that. Meanwhile, I won full custody of Ryan, kept the house, and used a portion of Aaron's frozen assets to start a new business, a home design consultancy. My first video, a TikTok called "How I Redecorated After My Husband Cheated on Me." It went viral. Millions of views. Thousands of women messaged me saying I'd inspired them to reclaim their lives. But the best part, Ryan and I became closer than ever. He apologized 100 times for not telling me sooner, but I told him what mattered was that he found a way to protect me, in his own way. I'd rather have a son who recorded the truth than a husband who lied to my face. As for Aaron, last I heard, he's working at a car dealership and living in a one-bedroom rental. Melissa dumped him the moment the story hit her friend's circle. No one wants to be with a man who cheats on both his wife and his mistress. And every once in a while, when I scroll TikTok and see one of those "how I got revenge on my cheating ex" videos, I smile, because my story wasn't just about betrayal, it was about taking back power, finding strength through pain, and realizing that even a teenager's silly little drafts can uncover the truth and change your life forever. Story number 2. I thought I was just not good enough. My boss praised me in public, then sabotaged me behind closed doors. I started to question my sanity. Until his own wife sent me an anonymous email. What I found inside exposed everything and destroyed the man who tried to ruin me. They say, keep your head down, work hard, and good things will come. That's exactly what I believed when I joined Alderenstein Financial, brighted and fresh out of business school, eager to prove myself in the corporate world. I wasn't naive, just hopeful. The company was sleek, the kind that had marble floors, elevator lobbies that smelled like eucalyptus, and smiling people who wore designer watches. But none of them held a candle to David Stein, my boss. A man who, on paper, was everything I wanted to be: respected, confident, articulate. But underneath that, he was a master manipulator. And I didn't even realize I was being gaslighted by him for almost 4 years. At first, he was charming. He complimented my work ethic, called me the sharpest new hire in years, and even invited me to client meetings when most juniors were stuck fetching coffee. I thought I was climbing the ladder fast. But then the subtle things began. He'd take credit for my reports in meetings. We did this, our team found that. But his name was always on the email. Then came the missed promotions. I was told I wasn't quite ready, even though I was mentoring people hired after me. Then the backhanded praise: you're doing good work, but you don't have the assertiveness yet. One day, I found an email where I had offered a brilliant solution to a client problem and David had forwarded it to the client with my name removed. My heart sank, but when I confronted him, he smiled and said, "Oh, I must have copied the wrong draft. Relax." But it kept happening. He gave presentations using my research, passed me over for bonuses, and once even told a coworker I was unstable when I cried after losing a 6-month-long project to someone else. I started to believe it was me, that I wasn't assertive enough, that I needed to toughen up. I stopped sharing ideas openly. I began second-guessing my own emails. My confidence eroded. I started seeing a therapist, who gently suggested I might be a victim of workplace manipulation. But what could I do? He was the co-founder. HR was his golfing buddy. I had no proof, just a growing knot in my stomach. That's when everything changed, because of his wife. Yes, his actual wife, Clara Stein. A woman I had only met once at a holiday gala. She was poised, well-dressed, the kind of person you expect to be intimidating but instead offers warm hugs and remembers your name. I thought she was completely out of the loop about office politics. Until one evening, when I got an email from a private address. No subject, just one sentence. "I think it's time you saw this." Attached was a folder. I nearly deleted it, thinking it was spam, but I recognized the sender's full name, Clara Stein. I opened it. My hands trembled. The folder was packed with internal documents, time-stamped emails, even screen recordings. She had clearly been logging into David's work laptop, or maybe she'd had it cloned. But what I found inside made me nauseous. Emails where he laughed about taking credit for my work. Internal Slack messages where he bragged about keeping the girl on a leash because she's too good to fire but too ambitious to trust. In one message, he literally said, "If she ever grows a spine, I'll ruin her before she climbs higher." There were even emails to HR, flagging me as emotionally unstable, not a team player, and a liability if promoted. All lies. My jaw clenched tighter with every file. I couldn't stop shaking. There were also PowerPoint presentations, my slides, my research but edited to include his name, not mine. The final file was a screenshot of a conversation between Clara and David. She had asked, "Why are you treating her like this?" And he replied, "Because if she realizes how good she is, I'll be irrelevant." That one sentence broke me, and healed me at the same time. I finally knew. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't weak. I had been systematically manipulated by someone who feared my potential. I stayed up all night printing everything, creating backups, sending it to 3 trusted friends in case anything happened to me. I even recorded a video of myself explaining the timeline and how long it had gone on. The next morning, I walked into HR.com, but prepared for war. I dropped the folder on the table and said, "Before you tell me I'm not a good fit, I suggest you look at these." They did. I was called back the next day. David was placed on immediate leave. Clara filed for divorce the same week. She emailed me again. Just one sentence. "I'm sorry it took me this long." He tried to fight it, of course. Tried to spin it. He claimed I had hacked his accounts, but the metadata and timestamps made it clear. This wasn't sabotage. It was exposure. I went on paid leave during the investigation. Then came back 3 months later, not as a junior, not as a sidelined analyst, but as the new head of strategic development. HR offered me a formal apology. I didn't take it, but I took the title. The team started listening to me. People who had once avoided eye contact now asked for my input. My therapist told me, "You didn't just survive it, you beat it." But here's the twist I didn't see coming. Clara didn't just divorce David. She started a nonprofit called Shadowglass, helping women document workplace manipulation and gaslighting through encrypted apps. She asked me to serve on the board. I said yes. Today, I help others recognize the signs I missed for so long. And every time someone tells me, "I think my boss is trying to make me feel crazy," I say, "You're not crazy, you're just catching the cracks." As for David, last I heard, he tried to start his own firm. But word got out. Clara had forwarded the files anonymously to his prospective investors. No one would touch him. His name is a cautionary tale, now, and mine. It's on the door of the executive office. I earned it because someone gave it to me. But because I took it back from the man who thought he could bury me.